Hello, and welcome to one of my C++ tutorials, where I'll be going over more if statement tasks. But before I do, I'd like to ask you to please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and to share this channel far and wide. Without further ado, we're going to go into more if statement tasks using C++. So what do we need to do? At the end of my last video, I've showed you the leap year task by mistake, when I should have showed you the company is hiring new recruits task. So I'm going to show you how to do the leap year one first. Or what I will do, as we're on number 8, I'm going to do it in order before we do the leap year one. So company is hiring new recruits who should be within the age range of 18 to 28. We're going to write a program that asks for the current year and year of birth of the user. So the program has to display a message saying whether the user is eligible to apply or not. So all we will need, we will need age variables, we will need date of birth variables, and then we'll need the date of birth variables like these. So what it's going to do, and the ampersand, when we're using those, you would actually need to do shift 7 7. So you need to type in shift and 7 twice to get the ampersand logical operator in C++. So I'm going to run this code and show you what it does. So let's say I'm 18. I was born in 2005. It's equal to 18, so I'm eligible. I also type 17 in 2006, not eligible. I also say I'm 28, born in 1995, I'm eligible. But if I'm 30, born in 93, not eligible. So that's the if-else statement using the AND logical operator there. Okay? The next task I'm going to go through with you is the leap year one. So in a leap year one, this is the one I've showed you by mistake in my last video. So when I ask you what year you're born, so we need to make it divisible. So what we need to do in there, we need to determine whether the year is divisible by 100. If it is, it's a leap year, if and only if it's divisible by 400 as well. So 2000 is a leap year. So let's type in 2000. So let's type in 2000. That's a leap year. Let's type in 2100. It's not. Okay? So that is how that would work. 2100 is not a leap year, but 2000 is. Let's try 1800. Not a leap year. 1900. Not a leap year. 1920. That's a leap year. Okay? So that is what we got so far. Now, we're going to get into some more difficult ones. So a company sells a product that retails for £25 a unit. These are the quantity discounts according to the following table. And we would so we need to write a program that asks you to enter a number of products bought, and then it will display the total cost before the discount we're actually given, and the actual amount that's been charged based on what discount we get. Okay? So let's have a look and see the code in action. So I'm going to show you the whole code in action. So what have we got? So we've got our variables. They're all integer variables. Number of products, so that's 25 per unit. Cost per unit is 25. So we're going to ask it. So each time we run this, we're going to be asked, like, how many are we going to have? Okay. So in that, we are going to be asked, how many have we actually bought? So let's say I've bought 8. No discount there. Let's say I decided to buy 9. And that doesn't work because I've got the less than after the equal to when it needs to be less than or equal to. So if you were to do that, your code's not going to work at all. You're going to get a syntax error. So be careful what you're typing in what order. So you need less than or equal to 9. Okay? So this has to type 9, no discount. So I'm going to go through each of these else if statements. If we run it, I want to do 15. It's between 10 and 19, so it's going to go into the 20% discount. So it's 20 times the total cost before the discount, divide by 100. So we've got 75 taken away from 375, so the total amount's 300. If I wanted to run that again and put, say, 30, it's going to go into the second else if, because it gets a 30% discount, so it's 30% times the total cost, divide by 100. And it'll display the discount and the total amount. Run that again. I'm going to go for 65 products. I'm going to get a 40% discount. And let's say I was going to order 200 products. 5,000, 50% discount, so it's 2,500. So whatever I put in there and whatever calculations are done, the output is going to be based on the calculations and what we've inputted as how many products bought. Okay? So that is the is another example of an else if statement task in C++. So you can see it's quite heavily involved, this one. There's quite a lot of code to do. Okay? Now for the next task, which is diesel. Which is this one, the size of the engine one. So let's have a look. So we need to write and test a program that prompts and reads a car's engine size in cubic centimeters, and if it's diesel or a petrol car. It will calculate the costs as follows. So say for 100 miles, for argument's sake, if it's a diesel, 30 for 1900 centimeters cubed or less, £40 for cars between 1900 and 2100 centimeters cubed, and £50 for cars with more than 2100 centimeters cubed. And the same will apply if it's not a diesel. And then we need to display the running costs. So say we were to enter the car's engine size, so 2000, then we enter a 1, running costs of 40. But how are we going to code this? Well, let's have a look. Nice and easy bit, the variables. So you need the variables, the car fuel, the running costs. You don't need the integer value, but you will need the size of the engine. So we've got size of the engine, which is based on our input. Okay, so now what we need to do, we also need the car fuel. We'll also need the car fuel. And then we go into ifs. So this is a series of nested if statements there. So if car fuel is less than or equal to 1, so that's assuming if the car is a diesel. So we go into our if statement and we're going to do if based on the size of the engine. So if it's less than 1900, it's going to say what the running costs will be. Okay. Let's see what the running costs will be. So that's for car. Or what we can do is we can just do equal to 1 rather than less than or equal to 1. And then we're going to do else if. So this is based on diesel. Or you could just do else if. Car fuel is equal to 2. What I should have done was else if up here. And then what I should have done was that is equal to 2. And we want these. You're still going to want these. So that's going to be 35. That's going to be 45. That's going to be 55. Okay. And the size stuff is still going to be the same. And then what we're going to have here, output will be produced here, so the running cost will not necessarily amount to 40. But they will. So we don't need the 40 hard-coded. So we will need running costs. Right here. So let's run it. So I'm going to say it's 1 to 35. Which doesn't look right there. So you don't necessarily need an output at all for this one. So let's have a look. So enter the size, so it's going to be, so the car fuel, enter the size, so the size of the engine is going to be 2000. So a 1 or a 2, it's going to be a 1. So that is 40. Size of the engine is 3000, and it's going to be a number 1. It's going to be 50. 1000, I'm going to have 1. Cost amount to 30. If it's going to be 1800, 2, it's going to be 35. It's going to be 2002, and it's going to be a 2. Cost is going to be, it's going to go in the else, it's going to be 45. If it's going to be 2150, it's going to go, and then we do 2, it's going to go into 2, and it's going to find, which one is it? Over 2100, so it's going to say costs are 55. So that is the car engine code. So if we were to enter 2001, it will be 40. So we have done all these outputs right, and we've tested them as they should be. Okay? So that is this task done. And this is the code which you need to do it. And in some cases, you don't really need the 2000 either. You could just have that. And you don't necessarily need the running cost output either, because you've got the running costs already. So that's the code. And let's have a look at the other stuff. Okay. Number 20. We need to write a program that prompts the user to enter a module percentage mark and then reads that percentage mark in. And then it needs to figure out the percentage mark equates to a fail, which is less than 40, pass between 40 and 60, merit between 60 and less than 70, or distinction, which is a 70 or more. So let's break it down. So we will need mark. We will need to type in the mark. And then we're going to do if mark is less than 40. So we are going to see out and say fail. Let's do a nice end line just to make sure. Then we're going to do else if mark is greater than or equal to 41. And we're going to use the ampersand, which is shift 7, and mark is less than 50. Or what we are going to say is I'm going to say 59. See out, we're going to say pass. And then else if mark is greater than or equal to 60 and mark is less than 69. We are going to say merit. And then we're just going to say else distinction. Let's have a look and see it work. Right, I'm going to enter 39. Epic fail. I'm going to do 40, which is not a distinction. So it needs to be. So we need to change the 1 to a 0. So we've debugged the problem here. So that says to enter 40. That's a pass. Let's say we want to do 59. It's not a distinction, so it needs to be less than or equal to 59. So we'll test that again, and we'll say it's 59, which is a pass. Let's get into 60. It's a merit. However, we're going to need less than or equal to 69. Because now we know the mistakes on the others. That works like a charm. If we enter 70, that's a distinction. Let's say I want to enter 80, distinction also. And that is a nice little easy else if program. So we've got an if, two else ifs, and an else statement. Nice and easy. And now, for the last one, we need to write a program that displays the following menu and accepts an integer value as its input. So we need to calculate the area of a circle, area of a rectangle, area of a triangle, and just quit. And enter the choice 1 to 4. So depending on the input, the program should respond appropriately. So if the value is 1, then the user is prompted for the radius of a circle for which the area is required to be calculated. 2 is entered, they should do the length and width of a rectangle, and so on and so forth. But let's get into how to do it. So let's do int, and we could do some floats. This is one way of doing it, where we could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, or better yet, we could do a \n 1. We can just do that. Rather than doing 5 lines, we can do 1. So you've got 4 lines we do not need. Three, and then 4. And that's all. So instead, we got 4 lines we don't need. And you can see that it's more efficient. Yes, the line will be long, but in this case, it's more efficient. So why do stuff in 4 lines when you can do all that stuff in 1? So let's try this, shall we? If option is equal to 1, what we're going to do is we're going to see out, enter the radius. Seeing radius. So area of circle is going to equal radius. So we're going to have 3.142 times radius, and we can do times radius, the squared, or we can do exponent to 2. But in this case, we're going to do radius first, and then we're going to see out area of a circle. And then we're going to do area of circle here and end line. So let's have a look and let's see it work first. So we're going to do 1, 2.3. There's the area of a circle right there. So that's a radius. But what I am going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit different here. Area of a circle times radius exponent 2. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm trying to show what the difference is. And no, it doesn't really like that at all. No, doesn't like exponentation. So not like Python, where in Python you can do exponentation like that, but in C++ they don't seem to want you to, or there's another way of doing it, but we're not going to get into that one in this video. But let's get back to this task. So you could do else if option equals 2 is equal to 2. We're going to do a cout. Ask the user to enter the length. Make sure there's 2 chevrons and not 1, and a bracket. Then we're going to see in length. And then we're going to do the same here for width. Okay, so we're going to do width. And then we're going to do area of rectangle equals length times width. Cout area of a rectangle end line. So we've got a little bit of something there. Else if option is 3. So we want a triangle now. So you want So you want the base and the height. So we want base, we want height. We want base, we want height, we want triangle, and to do that, base times height, divide by 2. Base times height, divide by 2. And I have found a way in which we can do this. We can do set precision. And I will get into that in a moment. I will get into set precision right in a moment. Let's find it. Right, so what you need, whenever you do want to do set precision, that will set a number to decimal places. So what you will need is include an IO manip. So what the IO manip will do, it will allow us to use the set precision. So let's have a look and see what set precision means. So set precision, so it sets the decimal precision to be used to floating point values on output operations. So it's behaving as if a member precision. So set precision is an inbuilt method used to manipulate floating point values. So it's used to set precision of floating point numbers after the decimal. So it's set the precision and it's defined inside the IO manip header file. So let's have a look at what it is. So let's say I was to do number 1. Enter the radius 2.3. So you can see 16.212. It's just 16.62 there. Okay. Let me type in the else. And then what I should do here, end line, end L, and up here I would do end L just to make things cleaner. Anyway, let's go to number 2. So number 2, area of a rectangle. Length 2.4, 5.5. And the width 5.5. So you can see the area of a rectangle, 2 decimal places. Okay, let's try another one just to be sure. So we're going to do 3.45, 2.14. So you can see we've got 3 numbers here, and then using set precision, it's just 2 decimal places. But I'm going to try the triangle one, and I'm going to type in 22.45785, and I'm going to times it by 12.867. So we've got 3 numbers after the decimal point in general, and we've got 2 after that in the area of a triangle. Okay, so I am going to try and do another one just so you can see the rounding being done. So I'm going to try number 3. Okay, so 753. So if it had a 5 or a 6, that 5 will become a 6, because if the third number is a 5 or more, it's going to round up. That's going to round up to 7/6. Whereas if it's 4 or below, it's going to stay as it is. Okay? And all of this wraps up our if statement tasks. And we've finally done a geometry calculator as the last task. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, so please remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and spread this channel and the video far and wide, and I look forward to making the next video for you very soon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.